Welcome back, CIS 1400. We're going to take some time right now to code in Python the sales tax problem that we introduced in the previous video. So again, here's the pseudocode that we came up with. We've got a couple constants, our main method, and three other methods meant to calculate and display various types of tasks or taxes. So let's go ahead, and I'm in PyCharm right now. Let's make a brand new Python file. So I'm going to right click on my module, Python file, I'll call it the sales problem. Right. And I'm going to split the window here just so that I can see things side by side. It makes it a little bit easier to code things up. So first and foremost, the global variables county tax and state tax. Now those are constants, but in Python we don't have constants. We even don't really have named data types. Variables do have data types, but they don't get it until instantiation. So I can't really put and force it to be a constant, but I can replicate it as being a constant by saying something like county tax and saying it's equal to 0.02, and same thing with the state tax, making it equal to 0.04. So those are all values I can use throughout my other methods. And let's just start scripting up some of those methods. So module main. Modules in Python start with the keyword def, okay, for a definition or a function. And then we are going to use the word main here, and followed up with two parentheses. Python ends its headings with colons. Okay, whether it be a module heading or a condition or a looping structure, we have a colon. And then when you press return, you're going to notice the indentation kind of takes over. The indentation tells us that we're in a block of code. Spacing is very important in Python, so you want to make sure you maintain good, consistent spacing techniques. Again, in the main method, we don't really make declarations. We end up getting our variables upon initialization. So I want to just get the total sales. I want to input that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go total sales equals input from the user, and I'm going to have to prompt the user for that input. I would say something like enter the monthly, let me zoom out of this a little bit, give myself some room, the monthly total monthly sales. Right? And now one thing you have to be aware of is that the input function always brings stuff in as a string. So if you want it to become a number of sorts, you have to wrap that function in another one that'll convert it either to an integer or, in our case, into a float, something with a decimal point. So I'm going to wrap that together in that. So now I'll have this total sales variable that I can work with. Okay, so I've got my total sales, I've got it input, it's declared, it's initialized, and now I can start making these calls to these various modules that I'll be writing a little bit later. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to say display, and making a call to a method is just simply writing the heading of the method and including any arguments you want. So county tax, and again I'm going to pass in the total sales. All right, I'm going to display my state tax, I'm going to pass in total sales, and I'm going to display my total tax, and again pass in those total sales. Okay. Now don't worry that these are all red right now. It's saying it's an unresolved reference because I don't have methods or functions or modules per se that are called that just yet, but we're going to get there. Okay. So this is going to end the main method. And now we can actually start writing some of our other modules. So here, def for the keyword, and we'll do my display county tax. And again, here I can insert a parameter. This is going to accept a float value, total sales. I don't, again, tell it what data type it's going to be. I just need to pass in a variable or have a variable ready, maybe something like sales. Okay. If I'd like to say what type of information that's going to be, I can do something like that where I can kind of at least tell the IDE what it's to expect. but Python itself doesn't really care. I could still pass a string in there or an integer or anything, but that's more of kind of a advanced usage, but something that you can do on your own. Okay, so here I'm going to get into my tax. So again, tax is equal to the sales that we're passing in, and we're going to multiply it by that county tax that I have up above. Alright, so there we go. And then I'm going to display it. So here I might actually put out a print statement and say something like the, let's see, county tax on sales, and we'll do something like $, and then I'll put a plus, and then I might write the stringed version of the tax. Alright, so tax is a number. I can't add strings and numbers together, but I can add strings and strings. So this is a function much like float, where it'll take a float or an integer value and turn it into a string. Right? I could comma separate it like we've done in the past, but this makes it look a little bit cleaner. And this is going to simply end the display county tax. And these are just comments I'm writing to kind of help signify some things. So let's do sort of the same idea. We're going to go to def, display state tax, sales, and we're going to do the same sort of thing. Tax equals sales times my state tax, and we're going to display basically the same thing. So a quick print, state tax on sales, a little colon, $, and plus the stringed version of my tax, and we'll end that method. And the very last one will be def display total sales or total tax, and notice up above that these little red lines are going away as I'm doing this, because now I'm finally defining these methods. They're not unresolved references anymore. So we'll do sales again, and we'll put in there tax is equal to the sales times, our pseudocode said we needed to do the sum of the state and the county tax, so we'll do county tax plus the state tax, and we'll print it. Total tax on sales, $, plus tax, and we'll end that module. Okay, now just because I've written all this code doesn't mean I'm using it. These are all still modules. They all have to get called. Now, these three modules get called in the main method, but as of right now, I have no part of my program that calls the main method, so I do need to do that. And I always like to make that kind of the last line of any program, okay? Now, I could just write the words main here, and that'll call it, but I do like to put in this little special syntax. It's kind of nice to look at. It is a way to call the main in a very special way that makes sure that it only runs if you execute this one file, and that's going to kind of help out with a couple of things down the road when we start importing different libraries and pulling in code that we write in different places, because we don't want it all to execute, we just want to have it available. So this if underscore underscore name underscore underscore double equals the main in quotation marks allows us to only run the main method if we decide to execute this one specific file. So I can right click on the file, I can say run sales problem, but only if I first run the main method from this line of code. And so I run, and now my terminal should pop up. I should be able to enter the monthly sales. Let's say my monthly sales was something like $12,500, and we had print statement that was bad. Where's that print statement? There we go. We forgot to change the text to a string. So here we go. And now let's try it one more time to make sure we don't get those runtime errors. So what do we say? 12.5, And there we go. Our county tax is $250. Our state sales tax is $500. If we add those two together, we should get $750. I could clean up the print statements a little bit here if I wanted to, just to make sure that in between this input, maybe I put a couple prints in here just to print out a blank line in between everything. But either way, it should still work just fine. So if I run it one more time, let's say I run it with, I don't know, let's go with $15,000. Right? Well, there's my county, state, and total tax. Right? So hopefully that helps. With that in mind, you should be able to perform on the homework assignment that I've given you, where you'll have to figure out what's right and what's wrong with a couple of modules based upon the reading and what I've shown you. Write a flowchart or pseudocode for something pretty simple, and then there is one problem for you to kind of go through and code up that will deal in the same sort of idea where you're making modules and passing information to those modules. It won't just be one piece of information, but it will be two. So keep that in mind as you're kind of going through. But either way, Python's a pretty simple language to work with. There's actually less code than there is pseudocode because we don't have all this constants and declarations and things like that. If you were to code in another language, say in like C or Java, yes, you'd be doing all of those, but being that this is probably your first programming class, we don't want to inundate you with all sorts of different languages and things like that. So we'll keep it to Python for now, relatively simple. I'll be sure to upload this particular example along with the pseudocode and flowchart to Blackboard so that you can see it along with these videos. So try your best with it. Let me know if you run into any difficulties while you're doing your assignment, and if you do and you get to it early enough, hopefully I can help you out. Just shoot me an email and we'll see what we can set up. If we can't answer it via email, maybe we can answer it in a video chat or something like that. So let me know if you run into any issues and I will be very happy to help. So good luck with the end of Module 3 here and the assignment. Next time we'll be talking about control structures. So we'll be doing if statements, looping activities, and then it'll be time to get you into your very first project. So exciting times ahead, and it seems like things are kind of progressing pretty quickly here. So again, let me know if you need any help. Other than that, we'll catch you in the next module.